Movies based off video games, not usually a recipe for success, but we're seeing better examples in the recent years, and is Mortal Kombat on the same trend upwards? Let's talk about it. So, Mortal Kombat, a movie based off a very popular fighting game franchise, one which I've played a bit of. I was more a Tekken man myself, but I knew enough to know the main characters in the game, and I saw the trailer for this and I thought it looked really good and really promising. So naturally I was quite excited to see this, until I realised that this isn't actually available for anyone in the UK. No, this only came out in US theatres and on HBO Max, which for the UK viewers, a lot of the HBO Max stuff tends to come out on either Now TV or on Sky Premier or Sky Atlantic. However, not this case. So the only way for you to watch this if you're in the UK is to get a VPN and get onto the American HBO Max website. And today's video is sponsored by NordVPN. I'm fucking with you, no, not really. But as an FYI for those in the UK, this isn't probably going to be easily accessible until about mid-May when the UK cinemas open up again. But for everyone else, back to the review. We've all seen how hit and miss movies based off video games can be, and the Mortal Kombat released in the 90s was interesting. And I can say that for the most part, this one isn't bad. Didn't really divert my expectations of the film, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because at the end of the day I was hoping for some great fights with some well-known Mortal Kombat characters, and that's exactly what I got. The opening sequence alone with Sub-Zero and Scorpion is fucking great, but unfortunately it's the opening part of the movie and probably the best part of the movie as well. But seriously, when it does get down to it, each fight matchup is well put together. It's got great choreography, great CG to back up those extravagant characters that we've all seen in the games. Funnily enough, the most fake looking thing was actually the blood in this. I don't know if they were trying to keep it consistent with how the blood looks in the Mortal Kombat video games, but when you couple that with the realistic CG that they were trying to implement here, it really makes it stand out in a lot of cases in this film. But you've got Sub-Zero, Goro, Liu Kang all pulling off these sweet moves, and the effects do well to back it up. So that's what's good about the movie, which is about 50 to 60% of it. The other stuff is fucking bad. Okay, maybe that's me being a little bit harsh, but the clear and unsurprisingly worst part of this film is the script. For being this hour and 45 runtime, there's a surprisingly slow middle section to the film which drags for quite a while with nothing but exposition dumps and pretty shoddy training sequences. I understand with these sort of movies you kind of have to rip the plaster off and just explain what this franchise is to new audiences, which is why you let it slide for the first half hour or so. And then you get some great fights with some classics, introductions to your favourite characters, and then nothing for quite a while. This is also coupled up with some of the most uncomfortable dialogue I've heard in a very long time. When the characters are having to be super serious, you can't really blame the actors as they're just trying to do what they can with what they've got, but then you just get Kano. He's essentially the comic relief in this film, and early on you get it pretty quickly what sort of character he's trying to be, but all of his dialogue just comes off as pretty cringe. And the story itself focuses on a main character which has never been in previous video games, which I'm not sure if fans of the MK series are particularly going to love. The story doesn't even encompass the tournament itself, so I feel like they would have done much better off by just showing the feud between Sub-Zero and Scorpion, as that was by far the most interesting part of this film. Outside of that, you get some pretty obvious fan servicey moments with some good fights in Act 1 and 3, and they've done what they can to throw in as many characters that you know as possible without trying to bloat out the story in the film. And they all look pretty good in my opinion as well. You can tell there was a decent amount of love here in the way they've crafted the characters' looks and the way they move and fight throughout the film. I also had a look at the weekend box office results in the US, and it seems to have done enough money to warrant making a sequel film. I'd love to see the passion that was thrown into the fight scenes and the CG here, coupled with maybe a new script and better dialogue to better service the story. Or maybe just less Kano entirely. That was probably the problem. If you're a fan of the fighting games, then I think this is worth seeing. It's pretty good, it's got a lot of fan service in, and if you recognise the characters, you're going to love what they do here. If you're not really well versed in the characters or not really a fan of these fantasy action sort of things, then I don't think you're going to enjoy this film at all. I personally see myself probably coming back to watch a lot of these fight scenes on YouTube or something in clips, but the movie itself was just too slow to make me ever want to come back and rewatch it again. But I'm glad I did watch it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes out in the future. hopefully they keep what was good with this and learn from the bad to make a better sequel. But that's it from me here today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know if you've seen Mortal Kombat, if you're in the US that is. Let me know what your thoughts on the film were. As always, if you liked this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It really does help me out. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews on movies, anime and video games. Until next time, guys, take care. Bye bye.